Well, my door is leaking hydraulic fluid. So, it's an internal closer. It's concealed. The door still works okay. But looking online, I couldn't really find a good video on how to fix this. So, I thought I would make one. First thing to do is to be aware of how this whole thing is constructed. The way to take the door off is right here, and then there's a plate. This plate covers the internal closer. The internal closer looks like this beast. Those are the adjustment screws. It sits right up in there. So, first thing I'm going to do is take off that little plate right there. Okay, I got the screws out, and taking this little bar out, you can see the square connector device from the closer is set in this thing here. So what I'm going to do is push the door free from this, and with the grace of all that is good, I'll take the door away from the whole door area. So I had it open and I pushed the door back here, and it freed itself from here. I think this screw was supposed to be holding it, but that screw has been loose. So, in any effect, I'm going to lift the door free from the jam there, and then I can work on it. All right. So I'm just going to take this off. I only have two hands, so I'll set the camera down. So I took off the plate. You can see the closer. And something to keep in mind is that this closer is open right now, and the other one will be closed. So when I attach the door with the other one, I'm going to want to attach the door when the door is closed. So just make sure you don't, paint yourself into a corner or anything like that. When I took this off, there was a whole bunch of fluid all over this. Anyhow. So I'm going to take this thing off, and the way to do this is I'm going to reuse the brackets. I don't think there's any need to replace those, but I'm just going to take off these screws and these screws, I think, and we'll just see if it comes out. If not, I might need to take off this bracket to slide it out. But in any case, these are the adjuster screws. It should line up perfectly with the other one. I think these are all modeled on a brand called Jackson, something like that. It did come right out. This this new one, it slips up into here and pushes up and then gets bolted in. So I'm going to just check to see if the bolts from the ones before fit easily, and if so, they do. So I'm just going to put this new one up in there. I set them next to each other to make sure they were exactly the same. Exactly same length and the screw positions and screw positions here. They're the same. Okay, I got the new one up there. A couple points before I button it up. When you get this, it'll have instructions, but just be aware that there's two screws. One adjusts the majority of the closing, the speed of the closing, and then one adjusts the little, the last little bit. It's called latching. So a lot of times it'll close relatively slow, and then it'll close a little bit quicker at the end, or vice versa. It'll close somewhat quickly, and then it'll close slower at the end. It's however you want to adjust it. But I have a feeling that, you know, this is adjusting the hydraulic fluid, and somehow that was causing a failure. One more thing to be aware of: if your door is catching on the ground here, one thing to consider is that it may need to be raised up. Okay, I have the door, I believe, correctly set upon the bearing, and then up here I have it closed up. And what I came to realize is that it requires a bit of a bump to get the door onto the this thing here. And it just has a square opening thing there. And so for that to get on here, it requires a bit of an effort. So what I'm going to actually do is put it on from the outside, closing the door and kind of bumping it onto this. And then when it's wedged in there, I'm going to open the door up and then put it on that plate. Okay, I'm not I'm not an expert here, okay? But this one here seems to be maybe like a 64th of an inch longer than the other one, so it wasn't seemingly able to get over this little bit of the door right here to even get in there. So what I'm going to do is I loosen this little bit here. I'm going to screw this guy down in a little further and lower this whole bit, just a little bit. And hopefully there's no problems with it rubbing. Wish me luck. So sure enough, I was able to accomplish what I wanted to do. I put the door on and I was able to slide it onto this, and then I opened the door. So what I'm going to do now is just check the door, closing it to see if it rubs on the door jamb, or the plate there. And if it's all good, I'll screw that on. If you're doing this, just lean this door over and look underneath at how that device works. It's really set up so it can set, the bearing is right about here, but it's designed so it can be set down and slid. There's a little locking mechanism to click. So you can set it over the bearing here and push the door until it is in the right position. But take a look and it makes perfect sense. Well, success. I'm gonna put this plate on there, and I did have to take the door off and adjust the bearing height to get it so it didn't rub. Okay, so the door's on, it's there, it hasn't been adjusted, the speed. I'm going to close it just to show you how fast it closes. Closes pretty quick. Closing speed, latching speed. When we tighten them, that makes it slower.